Magic Island made
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to this episode of What the Fuck America. This is your host, Mr. Mikey D, and once again, it's your boy Rob. What up, Rob? How you doing?
What's going on over there, Mike? How you doing? I'm doing great, man.
And also, as always, we have Sarah Love. What up, Sarah? How you doing?
What's up, guys?
Hey.
What up, Sarah?
Yeah. All right. So we have a really awesome show for you guys today. We're going to have a special guest. Her name is Casey Anderson. She's a friend of ours. She's a bud tender is what she does for a living. So she has a little bit of, some of that green.
That Bob Marley. Some of that Bob Marley.
You
You know what I'm saying?
She's going to lay down with that smoke. So I want you guys to stick around and check out the show. That's what it's going to be. So today, Rob, what you want to ask her today? What do you think you want to find out about the weed business today? The legal weed business. What are some of the
The
questions?
legal weed business is when the hell they gonna make it legal in North Carolina? That's what the hell I want to know. I see all these other damn states popping up, they legalizing shit. When does North Carolina get their turn?
I don't know, man. You guys
I
got
feel like we're gonna be the last fucking state, dude. Everything here is like they're so strict on everything here, and I feel like we're gonna be the last state to actually legalize weed. I guarantee
Might be, man.
one of the last states.
That'd be your luck. Just because you live there, bro.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. It would be.
Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our star today. Casey, are you there? Are you on the line with us?
I sure am.
All right. Hey,
So,
What's going
hey.
on?
yeah. Look at her, man. Sunny Arizona. Look at she's outside hanging out.
Always, always.
Probably a little
Looks
more
beautiful out
than what the
there.
rest of the country could be saying or doing right now, right?
Hey, it's pretty nice. It's sunny out here actually today too, but we got a cold front coming through, so it's about to get cold. It's about to be snow up in the mountains, frigid
Definitely
temperatures
a
for a
little
week.
chillier out here than normal, but I'm not. It's nice. It's nice.
I'm about to say, I see you got your little winter hat on, so it
Yeah.
looks nice, but I'm sure the air's cool.
I got sweats on. I have to wear my slippers all the time. It's a little cold. There are pieces of me that's like, ooh, it's chilly.
That's cool. Right.
I just want some rain up in this bitch.
Oh my God, please, please.
some rain in this house. Need some rain in this house.
Let's see if I can send some y'all way, because we always got it coming at least once every other day, or
Right.
Oh God.
it rains at
okay.
least once a week out here. So
It's been like at least 80 days since we've seen some rain.
Over 100.
Has
Over
it been over
100?
100? I was just
Right.
wondering this the other night, actually. It was
Anyway,
so sad.
so Casey, you are a bud tender.
I sure am. I love my job.
explain what a
love
bud
my
tender is. I don't know exactly what a bud tender is and does. So
Go
can you
figure.
explain that for us?
Let's hear it.
In Arizona, it's medical. Well, it's going to be rec because we passed it, but it's not officialized in stores yet. So medically, I sell you medicine, but I sell you cannabis product medicine. So you walk in and you have an ailment or you need some smoke, and we get you the product that you want to take home, and hopefully it's what you need.
Right
And
on.
then you come back and we do it again. It doesn't
Yeah,
always have to be cannabis.
need
I
some kind-
sell a lot of different types of products. So a lot of people walk in and they don't want to smoke the weed. It's still like a bad thing. So we don't have to do that. You can eat it. You can put it as a drop under your tongue. You can use it as a salve on the outside. You don't even have to utilize it inside your body if you don't want to. So there's a lot of different ways that we can
Yeah, I
medicate.
notice a lot of people would rather use the edibles and some of the
Oh,
pills.
absolutely. They're very effective if you know how to use them correctly. I love edibles. I didn't for a long time because I didn't know how to use them. But I found my happy place is what I call it.
Right.
And yeah, as long as you can use them medically correctly, they're great.
But also though, there's something with the edibles that break down differently when you ingest it rather than when you smoke it. So I was told that it's comparable to like a psilocybin mushroom, like the funny mushrooms, you know, like the tripping mushrooms. So like
Kinda.
it kind of gives you the same effect because the THC breaks down a little more inside the liver when you eat it and how
Yes.
it's distributed into
Yes.
your body.
You're definitely not going to hallucinate. It's not that same type of a thing, but it's definitely more of a medicinal effect. You don't get, there's no head high involved in edibles.
Right.
It's all neck, shoulders down
Right.
type of a deal. You get a
Wow,
lot of
I've never ate
relaxation.
edibles, I guess, because I've
You never had them?
nah, like, yeah, I've been too scared, I guess, because everybody said the stories I hear about it, people staying high for like a day or two after they eat them, and I'm like, I don't really want to stay high like that. So
You
I've
don't
just
have
never,
to, honey. You
never
don't
tried
have to.
that.
I wish you were here because you could come to me and I would, you do not have to do that. Edibles are great because if you have chronic pain or if you're dealing with a lot of inflammation within the body itself, you can relieve that for a very long extended period of time. The word overdose is such a strong word, so I don't even want to use that. If you overconsume,
There you go.
you can have a very long lasting effect, but it is just because you have a long lasting pain. You know what I mean? Like you have cannabinoids within your system, and so they're going to pull from whatever you ingest that has cannabinoids in it.
Right.
And it's going to work together. If you take a 15,
just-
I don't know how tall you are, how big you are, but if you take a 15 milligram edible, you're not even going to feel it.
Right. I was going to say they have different grammage. Like, so like you can actually control the dose.
How much you take.
of edible.
Absolutely.
Like if you,
But you said it's not a head high, it's just a body high. So I don't know if I've actually experienced
Would
that
need
while
that?
I'm smoking weed, because I assume I'm always getting a head high. But you don't get a body high when you smoke. Like that's what's kind of confusing me.
I don't
'cause
know. Do you
I feel like
smoke?
you would.
I mean,
I feel like
you've already said you're not in a medical state. So do you smoke heavy and like chill? Or do you smoke heavy and you're up cleaning the house? and
Yeah,
doing
I guess.
things?
But mine's always in the mind though. Like
So most of the time you probably
it all
gotta
depends, I guess, on
sativa.
what type of weed it is.
Right. A lot of the sativa pulls,
Sativa.
so a lot of terpenes, they're going to help guide you. So if you have something that smells fruity or smells awakening in a sense, and it awakens things within you, by default, that's going to be a motivating strain. If you have something that's it smells yum, ooh, that smells good, like a relaxer in your sniffer, that's going to be more of a relaxing strain.
Cat piss smell then, because that's the type of weed I be getting. That shit be smelling like straight gas, cat piss, like some stanky, funky.
That's the
What
shit
is it?
knock you out your ass.
That's what I'm saying. That's the shit I'll be smoking. So I don't really go by names and stuff. My dude be trying to tell me this is that San Francisco something, or this is the gelatos or something. I said, man, I don't care as long as the shit stink. I need 1 gram to stink up my whole car. When it does that, I know it's some good ass weed. That's all I'll be worried about.
Judging by what you're saying, Rob, I think you're an indica smoker, dude. Like you want that hard hitting, put you in the dirt.
Yeah, but he said diesel, and diesel's not an indica.
Well, he said,
Well, I ain't
yeah,
had
But
no
it's a
diesel in a long
stanky-
time.
that's
I
a
haven't had. I
stanky.
like diesel, and I haven't had diesel in a long time. I don't know. He be getting some weird shit, but it be stanky. It's good, So
oh, I love
that's all I worry
bro.
about, I guess.
There's a
I love
strange.
diesels
The
for the simple
edibles,
fact
man. Like,
and their taste.
so you can't just eat weed and get high, right?
No, no.
Did
The
it have to be
cannabinoid pickup
a
is
lot?
different. No. So there's cannabinoids in it that have to change. When you heat up the bud, it changes, and I cannot pronounce the scientific words.
The
but
THC?
It's
THC?
it turns into Teca 11 something is basically the terpene the cannabinoid that it changes into. And so that's what's going to get you high. But no, if you just chew on a nug, you're going to get a different cannabinoid that's not necessarily going to get you stoned. It might help one thing or another, but it's not going to
You
get
might
you
get the
stoned.
CBD out of that plant from doing
Right, right. You might pull a different cannabinoid out of it, but it's not going to get you high.
right. That makes sense because that's what a lot of those waxes and concentrates are like too. When you smoke them, they got to be.
Well, that's kind of weird because I was in a rehab. Well, look, my mom had put me in a rehab when I was younger. Like, I don't know, I was like 16 or some shit because I was a pothead. But there's a dude that was in there and he was doing good to get out of his program or whatever, but he went to school, matter of fact, over in Iowa in Council Bluffs at what was it, TJ High School or some shit. It was eat a fucking bud. He came back and was stoned out of his fucking mind. And that's why I was like, this dude, I mean, he was tripping and shit. Like, I don't know how much bud he ate at school, and that's what he told everybody. He just ate a bud. He didn't smoke it. He ate it, and he got in trouble because he had relapsed. And he told all the counselors there what he had did. But you know how we can make you paranoid. But
So it might have been a different. I mean, he might have eaten it, and it might have just been a really strong cannabinoid that he pulled for. I don't know. I don't actually know that, but
Didn't
you
that
have to
happen in a
heat up-
movie?
But
Somebody
normal-
got pulled over and ate their baggie of weed.
I've never seen that movie.
I've done that shit in real
Yeah.
life. Are you kidding me?
I've never seen that movie. But like, you break up your bud and you put it in your fingers, and you put your fingers in your mouth, and you don't get high off of that. It doesn't get you high. So,
I think
but
it needs to
there's
reach a
cannabinoids in
level
there.
of-
You are ingesting them. They're just on a different format. You pull them differently, and I don't necessarily know what they do when you pull them like that. You have to heat up marijuana to release the TACA 11, whatever cannabinoid it is, that is actually the head changer.
Now, you don't think that can happen by eating the nug and then maybe happening later on? Because like, what if that temperature happens in your digestion process, like in your stomach?
I don't know the answer to that question.
I think
don't know
it
the
might be
answer to that.
possible, maybe, but I
well,
think like you
it would always happen though, and then we wouldn't really be having this conversation about that because everybody would be like,
But
oh
you're
yeah,
gonna-
you could just eat the fucking weed and it get
Right.
you high. But
no, but not
saying
everybody.
on a
Think about it. Not everybody likes
normal
the taste of
basis,
it like that.
You have to break the cannabinoid, basically, is what it is, or change the cannabinoid. Even when you're taking weed as a weed and turning it into brownies, you have to heat it. You have to decarb it, is what
Right.
it's called.
The butter that's used to make that product or whatever that's in it, right? Or the oil
Yep.
that
Yep.
was already heated up to a process, and then so now it's what they call active, correct?
I think no, when you decarb it as the plant matter itself. So you take your weed as a weed,
Mm-hmm.
and you put it in your grinder and you break it up, and then you put it on a cookie sheet, and then you put it in the oven at about 175, maybe 190 if you're watching it really closely,
Right.
and for about 45 minutes, and that decarbs it. And then you're able to cook it into butter. But that's turning it into the TACA 11, whatever cannabinoid it is that decarb process, heating it up and changing the elements of the cannabinoid.
I wonder, hold that thought real quick. Sarah, are you able to look up that word or that term?
I
that
was
you're
just
trying to
thinking
find?
about that. I don't know how to look it up because I don't
she
know
can't
how
spell it.
to spell it, right? Because I don't know what the word is that she's looking for. So I
Yeah.
don't know how to spell
Well,
it.
Google does pretty good if you can get close.
I'm trying to figure out how to word it.
It'll
Get to
should pop
my
up
search
something. If you
result, my ideal search result. I'm working on it. I'm trying to
put it in Tech
Also-
11.
Also, you have
Weed, marijuana.
also
Is
you
that like
have,
the elongated term for THC
yes.
you're looking for? Is that what we're looking for?
Yes.
Okay. Now I understand. Tetrahydrocannabinol.
Then it turns into something 11.
11.
Yes.
Turn.
Try that
into
word.
when heated. Oh, hold please.
Try that word with the number 11 behind it. and
Is
it'll
it the
have to discern.
THCA? Is that what you're looking for? 11-hydroxy THC.
There you go.
11-hydroxy tetrahydrocannabinol. Or
11-hydroxy tetracannabinol.
Mike,
11
you're gonna spell all that out in the
Okay.
editing.
11-hydroxy
Roll it across the
THC.
Roll it across the screen for the folks.
Listen, 11-hydroxy THC is the term you're looking for. That's the abbreviated term for what happens THC when you
Okay.
heat it up.
Perfect. I appreciate that. Thank you. You also have like these waxes and RSO oils though too that you can literally
That's
just eat.
Straight
And-
plant matter, and that you can just eat, and that tastes like ugh. But yeah, it's like
But it-
super strong, straight plant matter, very concentrated form. If Rob has no edible history, I would not suggest it to him, type of a deal.
I would plant it. I would put it on a cookie and then give it to him and be like, eat that.
Yeah.
And not tell him.
I'm old
That
fashioned, man.
is
I'm old
probably
fashioned when
why
it comes to
homeboy-
weed. I'm old fashioned. I just like to smoke.
Okay, so when I
I
got
wanna
into
eat
this
nothing.
industry a year and a half ago, I was that same way. I
Mm.
need weed, like straight bud. I want bud in my house at all times if I can help. Like I need that for my pain. I don't.
I just like
do-
the sight.
I right. I
prettiness,
don't
the
do
smell.
the oils. I didn't do the pens really at that point. I didn't do edibles. Like I just needed flour. I don't use flour very much anymore. And there's more of a personal reason because of it tastes gross, like in the mouth after I smoke. Taste like an ashtray type of a thing because I've gotten into concentrate so much now.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's backwards for me. Like I don't want the plant as a plant. I want make it into a concentrate that tastes better.
Right. And they even have that too, right? Because they have what they call the terpenes.
Mhm.
And I believe that's the part of the plant that helps the flavor. So like you could literally go to the shop and buy just the terpenes and
Mhm.
mix that, like the flavoring, with your wax, and then you hit that in your bong or your pipe or whatever, your rig, and you pretty much get the combination of what you were smoking as the flower, just now 100 times better, hitting you a
Well,
lot.
and there's also like food that you can do that. Like you can go and buy a mango and eat a mango and wait a half an hour and then go smoke. And every cannabinoid's going to be intensified almost. Your high is going to be higher. It's going to come on quicker because there's cannabinoids. There's a profile, no, there's not cannabinoids. There's a terpene profile within that mango that
Mhm.
the cannabinoids in the bud have and follow along with because the terpene profile is the same in the bud. Like it's crazy because
So you can mimic like a
like
flavor.
add to it almost, add to your high almost dependent upon what you eat.
Oh, okay.
Man, this is like some sci-fi weed scientist shit. 'Cause
Hey, that's
all these
pretty
damn
awesome.
technical
Blowing
terms.
Rob's
You are blowing my mind right now. I'm like, what the fuck? She's like a weed
Yeah.
scientist.
She is.
It
dude.
is fantastic.
awesome.
What I learn at work is absolutely amazing. And because everybody has different knowledge that they pick up within their own selves, you know, I as a bud tender might not know and explain the same way that this guy over here explains, but we're explaining the same process. We're just phrasing it differently. And like he's explaining more in depth in how they pull the RSO versus I explain a little more in depth of how they plant the buds versus, you know, it's crazy because everybody has different knowledge, and that's what this industry is all about, is knowledge and who shares it with who.
Right.
Because, you know, even getting on Leafly
And the
we
health,
do a-
a health and wellness part of it too, you know,
oh,
it
absolutely.
is become a huge thing. I mean, a lot of these oils and waxes are starting to show some kind of uptick in treatment for like cancers, hardcore pains and illnesses that it actually helps with, you know.
Well, that's what RSO was originally designed for, is gentleman, I want to say it was a gentleman who made it, was because I want to say it was his daughter had leukemia, and he
It,
realized how much this plant could help.
I believe his name was Rick Simpson, but
Yep,
that's
it's
why they
Rick
call
Simpson.
it RSO, because it's Rick Simpson
Rick
oil.
Simpson oil. Right. And it's crazy because this, I mean, if you even go into the history of it, which I did a little bit of learning when I first got into the industry, but the history of it, cannabis was in medical books as a designated medicine. When the
And that's when
Pilgrims
that
came
happened,
over
I
on the
guess.
Mayflower, did you know that it was required that they plant hemp? It was required that they have hemp farms when they came over on the Mayflower. Like, this
Yeah.
was a
Wow.
plant that was
I never
utilized
knew
for
that.
so long as a medicine, and it just got cut off, but it's still medicinal. It
Mhm.
didn't, like, that part didn't go away. So we're finally getting back into that knowledge and realizing what it can do and who it can help. And it is a miracle.
And we're
plant,
also
in my
finding
opinion.
out with the like he said, with the coming of the Federal Reserve and the feds and everything and taxing us, they figured that they couldn't tax marijuana. And also the lumber industry was a powerhouse because, you know, they had learned how to build houses throughout the early 1800s. They were using not just straight logs anymore. They were actually milling lumber and creating boards to build these houses that had actual structure. You know what I mean? So like the lumber industry was a big contender and a big reason why hemp couldn't get past prohibition either.
Mm.
So
The Federal Reserve Bank was a lot of it too. Like, it was crazy. So I'm very pleased with where it's going.
yeah.
So what is CBD oil? Is that hemp
CBD
and
is a
shit?
cannabinoid. CBD is a cannabinoid that is an anti-inflammation, antihistamine, pain reliever, pain reducer type of a. It is great. I use CBD almost daily. But it is more of a vitamin type of a cannabinoid than it is an antibiotic. You can't use it for 3 days and expect to be relieved. You have to use it for an extended period of time, and you'll find the relief within that time frame.
But does
It
it
don't-
has to do with marijuana though, right? Or hemp?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
it comes from the plant. I
Yeah.
believe we all have a aspect. Anything that's living has an aspect of cannabinoid, CB1 receptor in our bodies already.
When
Naturally.
you're born with endocannabinoids, like literally inside. Like, it's crazy because it's almost like the body's meant to have this plant and absorb
Right.
this plant on a
Right.
regular basis.
Because now we break it down, we take out all the
Right.
separate parts of it, and we can literally concentrate them down and give ourselves and consume it
That's
and
like my
have
phone, but I'm still.
and have that like extra push, you know. That's why it's good. The CBDs are good for like like pain relief, inflammation, like she was saying. So like if you have like swollen or a sore knee or something, they make CBD creams, like topical creams.
They make CBD anything.
Yeah.
They make CBD anything. How do you want to take it? That's what I ask people when they walk into my store and they've never been here before. How do you want to ingest this?
I seen it.
'Cause
I
we
seen it
got
like
for you,
I
honey.
seen it in powder form, bro. Like you should probably just
Nuts.
like
It
snort
comes in
the
all
line of
different
it.
kinds.
Crazy.
This comes in a powder form. Now we just got it in at my shop and it is fantastic. It's literally like,
I've used the CBD in a powder
Mhm.
form. It like
Yeah.
put it under your tongue. Oh my gosh! When I
Yep.
was a bartender, that was my saving grace.
Right.
What did it do for you?
The pain relief. I would legit, when I was getting ready for work, I would take. All right, I'll come on here so you don't have to look for me.
There you go. Go ahead.
I used to take it when I was getting ready for work. It would come in like a little jar, and it looked very suspicious. I used to take it to work with me, and then I was like, somebody's going to get the wrong idea about this, so I left it at home. So I started doing it right before I would leave for work, and I would take just a little, like, I don't know what kind of measurement that is. I don't know how to measure stuff like that, but it was like smaller than a dime-sized amount. Like, I don't know, like
Well, I believe
would-
the little jar itself is a gram. So, basically,
So like just a little baby bit, like a
Super-
little, I don't know, a little
scoop,
bit.
Like a
A little
teardrop.
scoop.
yeah, like a little
Sure.
teardrop. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Like you
Teardrop.
lick your finger and you stick your finger and you stick your finger in your mouth.
Under your tongue. Yep.
Wrong product, though.
I was just kidding.
Nope.
Just
I
kidding.
would
Don't do
like
drugs,
look
kid.
at just one little bit of this CBD powder under my tongue and off I go. And it legit, my feet used to hurt so bad. And this is why I started using it, because I was like, what else am I gonna do? I've tried changing my shoes, I've tried changing my socks, I started wearing compression socks. I started like
She's
It
fucking
was
30
just-
years old. Wearing compression socks.
I was falling apart, man, and my back was hurting, and I was a mess. And I don't even remember why
When
I
it
heard
stopped
about it
hurting?
or how I heard about this or who said what to me, and I was like light bulb. But as soon as I heard about it, I got my hands on it, and I was like, this is it. This is the end all be all. But it's expensive.
Mhm.
That little
pricey.
like the little jar it comes in is like the size of a damn quarter. And like I mean, one little thing of it a day, it lasts maybe like a week.
How much was it?
$30.
It's
Oh,
about
damn.
$30 a gram, I would say.
And I would
Or
just-
what do you guys sell it for? Where you're at?
We don't sell CBD. I sell it like that.
Oh, you don't? Okay. What kind of products do you have that are CBD?
Topicals. I have tinctures that are CBD
That's like an
Um,
oil droplet, right? Like a
that goes under your tongue. Yeah,
right. What is that? What is like a vial of that go for?
$60.
And that could
Oh.
usually last somebody about what? About
Probably a month.
okay. So you're looking
Alright.
at it like a $60 a month. You drop a little bit of that every day in your morning routine or whatever.
And it's not even the whole dropper. You just use a couple of drops depending on your pain level.
right.
Mm.
So you don't even use the whole dropper. But yeah,
And what's cool about it,
It's-
Rob, is
it's
you
a
don't even
throwdown.
feel any different. It doesn't make you feel high.
it's
You
not a
don't have-
high.
You don't have
Oh,
a
okay.
high or a head change
no
or
high.
nothing.
Anything. It's just for pain, basically.
Right.
just a
It
pain
just
reliever.
all of a sudden your pain is just kind of gone. Like, or you
I
just
had,
don't
like-
realize it's there anymore. Like you just
Probably a little
forget
bit
about it.
too much, but for those female listeners, I had some major cramps the other day. I'm talking major cramps, and I took 3 CBD high gummies. So they had some THC, but they had 5% more CBD to THC. Took
Right.
3 of them. I don't remember when my cramps stopped, but they stopped. Like it wasn't it.
And you're
it
talking about menstrual cramps.
Oh hell yeah, knock me on my ass type of ones. Like I was curled
That's
up
painful,
at work
too.
like this, like fuck me.
Anybody, you're married, Rob,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Oh, she has the worst periods ever.
Dude,
So,
CBD,
like,
get
she's
her on
heating
some
pad.
CBD.
Yeah, she's heating pad. I don't know if y'all
Yeah.
use
Right.
heating pads.
Yep. I
and
mean,
shit
yeah,
like
but
that, but that's how
CBD.
she is. So CBD.
This is my go-to. I don't take
Nice.
shit like that. I won't take Midol. I won't take ibuprofen. I won't take Advil. I won't
Yeah,
use
her
my
Midol don't
CBD
even work for her.
None of that shit. I go straight to cannabis.
Mhm.
That is my fix. Like, that is my medicine. And it's not a fix as in a drug fix. It's a fix as in like fixing my body.
Right.
And
And what
CBD
the- and
oil is all
having-
natural, right?
Right. And having
Yeah,
all
all
these
natural.
having all these different ways to take it, like taking the CBD, you're not getting THC whatsoever. Whatsoever. So like
Nope,
you
you
don't
will
have to
not
worry
drop
about
dirty on a
drug
drug
tests.
A drug
No,
test or
You
anything?
will not.
Okay.
No, you will
Nope.
not feel high. You will not feel
Mm-mm.
nothing. It was just that's what it's targeted for. It's targeted for your pain, your ailment. That's why it's a medicine.
That's
No.
fucking medicine. That's so true. I'm so
Yeah,
glad you
it
said
is.
that. I didn't say
It
that
really
word.
is. I mean, and I think, people over the last, I would say 100 years now going on, it's not, 1920s, when prohibition came in that era, like, I mean, we've had this misconceived kind of a notion of this plant. And,
It's
that's
a
the
bad
government's fault. Like, yes,
Right.
bad drugs,
But there's so much that you could do with that plant, though. Like, the hemp plant. Like, there's so
Dude,
much
hemp
shit you can
will build-
create out of it.
Anything that you can make out of plastic, you can make out
Exactly.
of hemp. Anything
Right.
that you can make out of plastic, you can make out of hemp. Like it's crazy how much other industries boomed when they took cannabis away from being legal. You know what I mean? The plastic industry took off. The money
Cotton.
industry like boomed, and everybody started
Cotton.
running that. Like anything that you make out of paper and plastic, you can make out of hemp. I promise you.
And we're actually finding
And it
out
would be more healthier for the planet instead of using
Absolutely.
plastic and shit. Yeah.
Exactly. We were just talking about this morning. My son was looking up the Great Pacific Trash Patch, and we figured
What is
out that it's about 400 acres worth of trash just floating in the sea, plastic, trash bags, garbage. But that's part of the problem. When they
Yeah,
outlawed,
it's like as big as
when-
a state or something, ain't it?
it's bigger than Connecticut. We looked it up today.
Holy
This morning.
shit.
Yeah, bigger
Yeah,
than
or
Connecticut.
Delaware or some shit. Yeah, it is. It's pretty big.
But when we outlawed marijuana, and like you said, the plastics industry took off, the all these other products and stuff that we've been using now for the last 100 years is all in
Yep.
the ocean, and we are now realizing that that was a bad idea. Like if we would have just stuck with hemp, the hemp plant grows like 100 times faster than the dang tree. You can get like maybe 1 or 2 yields out of a growing season from a hemp plant, right? Am I correct or no?
I believe that's a true statement.
Okay, because I know you do like you've done like plants and you've worked with
Yeah,
like,
I've never worked
growing.
with cannabis as a plant format, like growing from the ground. But from what I understand, it's not a forever plant type of a deal. It is going to die off, and you do have to, or it does have to repropagate itself.
Right.
But I
But
think
like
it's
I'm
about
saying,
1
you
or
can
2
harvest
seasons
it.
you would
Is
get
it is
Yeah.
it grow fast enough to where you can maybe get a couple harvests out of it? In the
Depending on
time,
where you live in the country, I would say yes. Up north, that's probably going to be a harder statement because the seasons change. You need, specifically with cannabis as a medicine, not as a hemp product, because they are 2 different types of plant.
Mhm.
But in order to make the medicine, you need 12 hours of daylight every day. Like it's on a 12-hour daytime, nighttime cycle.
Okay.
So when the winter comes up north, I would assume it's much harder to control that.
Right.
But
now they
on
would
a
do,
hemp
like, growing
basis,
hops and
hemp
stuff.
farm, I don't know that statement. I don't know how that would still work.
Okay. All right. Well, I would assume that you could probably get 2 to 3 yields out of a season, like a normal growing season, which I would say, is
Mhm.
like a spring or whatever. You would be able to like maybe harvest your plant or grow and harvest the plant maybe twice out of that whole time.
Right. I would agree with that statement too.
So I mean, so like you can't do that with a tree, right? So like, yeah, we could have made clothes out of hemp. We can make oils out of hemp. You can make medicines ranging from things that help cancer down to something that helps menstrual cramps. You can do, it could have been done as wood. You could build out of it. You could make paper, board
Absolutely.
out of it. I mean, everything.
Mhm.
It's crazy to me how they just kind of
Hemp
threw
can
this
be
thing to
made.
the
Would
wayside.
try to
Hemp can
ban
be
that.
made
Yeah,
with
they try to
research on
ban that.
it.
And that's how they act that way, man. That's what the governments of the world, they want to be very controlling the shit that actually helps us and would help our
Right.
society out more. They want to push under the rug and give us this and tax everything, basically.
Yep.
No, and you got to look at human history. It's a very short time in human history is we discovered, like I would say that a lot of this started during the industrial boom, right? Like when we started to industrialize everything and make everything on a massive scale, that's when it kind of changed, and that is only in the last 100 years. So you
Mhm.
gotta think that that's
I feel like we stopped caring about ourselves and our planet as a small and as a whole type of a deal, and we started caring just about the mass produce. How much can we make? How quickly can we make it? Who do I I don't care who I hurt in the
Consumer.
process.
It's all
Right.
about the money. Exactly.
now-
The money.
Right.
we're starting to see now though that people are starting to change that mindset, because you're now
Mhm.
starting to see the damage that has done. you know, we're starting to see what's done to our environment, what is done to the animals that live in these environments. You know what I mean? I hate
And
seeing
like, as
those.
one of the kids that grew up in the 90s, I watched those commercials because, you know, you couldn't fast forward through commercials back then. They're commercials about harming our planet and saving the whales and you know, these animals are going extinct and all of that. And now I'm grown and I'm in that age where we can make a change. We can do that. And you guys have built it into our head that we're supposed to care about things like that. So now we're going to give a shit. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
And we should,
I'm
because
excited
if
for it. We
not,
should.
this balance, this delicate balance we have here on Earth is just gonna like fall apart, and there's no reversing it once that
Yeah.
happens.
Dude,
So,
we got one planet, homie. One planet that
right,
we get. Once we fuck it up, we don't get another one.
we don't get another chance. So,
No.
but yeah, so, and you know, like I said, that also, you're also kind of a green thumb too. So like, do you know of any like, you do actually a lot of natural healing yourself, right?
Yes, I try to. I'm not a learned natural healer. I just have heard a few things and tested a few theories myself, and I kind of go with what I have, what knowledge I have now. But yeah, I really try hard not to take anything that is man-made in a drug sense. Like I don't want that in me. So
I mean,
honey and cinnamon if I'm starting to get sick. I will go get antibiotics if I'm actually sick, but like if I'm starting to feel it coming on, honey and cinnamon 3 times a day.
right.
And usually by the second day I'm better.
So you don't feel like,
Honey and cinnamon, huh?
Hell yeah. My best friend swears by garlic, but I have not tried that. I'm kind of a nervy. I love garlic, but I don't want to put that in my mouth and chew on it and like,
you know,
oh.
I saw somebody put on a post the other day, someone was ranting online about how they had a massive headache for like a day and a half. And I saw someone say, put a clove of garlic in your ear. And
Really?
that's
What
what
the
I swear to God.
What the fuck, America?
For real though. Like, I was like, I
Put it in your ear. Yeah, okay.
had to stop and be like, am I reading?
My sister's migraines. Sissy, are you taking notes?
I don't get them as bad anymore, but no, I've never ever tried to put anything in my ear to stop a migraine.
I wonder how that would work, because it's crazy. Because I have done this before. When I got my ears pierced, we had weed where you had to like clean and clean the seeds out. Like nowadays, you don't have a lot of flour that contains seeds, but back then I did. And when I got my ears pierced, they had gotten infected. And so what I did was, someone told me, and I did this and it worked. What happened is I just took off the back of my earrings and I replaced it with a seed. I poked a weed seed on the back of the earring.
Shut the fuck up.
I swear to God. So then the weed seeds were the earring backs. I leave them there for about a week. When I take them off, the seed was completely black, and
It pulled out the
Are
infection.
you serious?
infection. My ears were not sore.
That's
anymore.
amazing.
This is a miracle drug. Like, dude, this is a miracle plant. This
That's
thing is
amazing.
amazing.
Swear to God.
And that really happened to you.
Swear to God.
It really worked
put
for
on
you.
my mom, dude, on everything. I did that shit,
Oh my
and it
God.
worked.
Wow.
I was very surprised.
Wow.
Very surprised.
That is fantastic.
Wow. So does anybody know where the cannabis plant has originated from? Does anybody know that?
It kind of originates in a lot of different places, really, but most of the time it's centered around the equator. From what I've read, like the places are like places that are closer to the equator because that's where it originated from.
They're saying that it originated on the Tibetan plateau.
I would
in
assume
Tibet.
somewhere kind of humid.
Believe
That-
that's a true statement. Yeah.
I would
Like you
assume
have
humid.
a few different, I think there's somewhere between 7 and 13.
That's what Google says.
Original landrace bands. Maybe like one of them, but like Jamaican, that originated in Jamaica. Then there's Nepalese. I don't know how to say it when it with the ESC on the end. But that one
Okay.
originated in Nepal. And then like there's certain
Listen,
strains.
well, I'm talking about the original weed plant, like not all this other created shit and chopped up hydroponics, all that shit.
No.
The original
It grew from the
cannabis
ground
plant.
by its own without man.
Google saying,
grew from the ground.
yeah, Google's saying Tibet, but I've actually heard, I can't remember. I've been sitting there trying to think about it the last like 20 minutes of where I heard this story, but it goes back, I want to say maybe Sumerian, the tablets, it goes back to some alien shit. And they're saying that this plant, they brought it from, I want to say the Pleiades to this planet like a long time ago.
80s.
Star
I mean,
that
the
starts with an
80s.
S. No, not the 80s. The Pleiades.
Uh-oh.
I'm still
The
recording.
Obama net kicked in.
Yes, the Obama net kicked in. I don't know what happened.
What happened?
That was weird.
They like kicked us off. Anyway,
Yeah.
saying
I can't really remember the story, man. Like I would have to really do some research because I know I've heard it before in other shit that I was listening for, like some alien shit, man. I'm telling you, they talked about the cannabis plant. I can't remember if it was. It
I
started with
have
an
not
S, the
heard that it
star.
originated outside of our solar system. That's a new one.
I need to find that again because it was some years ago I heard that shit. But I know it's there in my brain somewhere. I just can't think of it right now.
well,
For sure, you pull
we'll let
that
it
up. That'll
go.
be interesting.
Yeah.
No, there's a
okay,
few
so
different
that's
land
what you're
races.
saying about the Tibet.
I'm just saying they're saying that the
Tibet.
plant does not originate from Earth. That plant.
You
doesn't.
know, it
That's the
has
reason
some
why it's such a
qualities
big
that
deal about this plant.
it has the qualities that it possesses and what it can
It's
heal
amazing. That's what I'm saying.
is amazing. And so, you know, I'm
I
willing
mean,
to
I don't
get on
really
that
care
train.
where it comes from, but I'm just saying that there is some type of ancient scripture and text that actually tells where that plant came from, and they say it does not originate from Earth.
That is
Well,
super
that's what I'm saying.
interesting.
There is
That
It
is
was
in the
brought
Bible.
here.
I haven't
It was
heard that one, but
yeah. It was brought here
It's in the Bible.
by higher intelligent
It is in the Bible.
beings.
Yeah, they talk about it in the Bible briefly.
Yep.
But yeah, who knows, man? I mean, who the fuck knows? All we know, all we can say for sure is that it definitely helps people in many, many ways.
And we're
I
we're
agree.
still learning about how much it does. There are still there are over 100, I want to say there's over 130, but closer to 150 different cannabinoids within cannabis itself. And we haven't, there's not even names for all of them because we're still learning about them.
Right. They're still
We
exploring
haven't
all
even
the
touched
different.
I mean,
on what
it's
this plant
just so
can
crazy that
actually do.
weed, marijuana does not harm anything. Like when you smoke weed, man, you just want to go get something to eat. You drive slower.
Well,
You might
yeah.
get a little annoyed, or you just have a good time. But alcohol, the most dangerous drugs we have, are sold legal. It's just, I feel like the whole world is backwards. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Alcohol, they're all so legal. Tobacco, sold legal, but they can tax the hell out. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it would boost our economy like crazy if they just
Oh,
legalize it. Even if
absolutely.
I think it would help with
Well,
the
why do
economy.
you
Definitely.
why do you think all these states are all of a sudden just following suit, legalizing one after the other? Because they're starting to
The
realize.
original states.
Yeah, the original states, like, what is it? Washington, California, and Colorado.
Oregon, California. Yeah.
Yeah, those
I agree
states
with you.
are, as far as money and finances are concerned, those states are well ahead of all the other states for sure.
By far.
Yep.
But
And North
that's
Carolina will probably be the only state that never legalized it. After all 49 states.
what.
Wait, how many states we got?
We're gonna have to give Robert a
50
history
states, right?
lesson.
Was it 51? Yeah.
50 states, Rob.
Hey, either
50
way.
states.
North Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're gonna be like the 49th state
to legalize
to
it.
legalize it. Guarantee you.
Once Rob moves out of North Carolina, they're gonna legalize it across the board.
That will happen. No, I guarantee you, I'll be mad as hell. I end up moving somewhere that it's not legal in, and then they'll legal
Switch it up on
here in
you.
North Carolina.
That's funny.
Like if I move back to Tennessee, yeah, if I did something like that.
Well,
Look, see,
So,
my
yeah.
back is fucking in so much pain right now.
okay. So,
So,
what are you gonna take for it?
this is okay. Perfect example, right? What am I hunting for? I'm hunting for my gummies, my 5-to-1 gummies. So I have some CBD, or no, I'm sorry, some THC, mostly CBD.
Nice.
Because I'm in so much freaking pain right
How much
now,
are the
I'm actually gonna
gummies
take
right
2 of them.
there that you got? That little pack that you had right there. How much would something like that?
Well, I
Right.
got double the
Yeah.
amount originally. It was actually closer to full, but it was $45.
And you only take how many to kind of relieve what you got going on right now? 2.
True.
Probably out of
And
like
I'm gonna
what,
suck
10.
them.
There's probably about 10 in that pack, I would say.
Yeah, I want to say there was 10 in them
Mhm.
originally, and I'm gonna suck on them. I'm not gonna chew them
Right.
because if I chew them, I have to wait 2.5
$45.
hours to get my effects.
And how
I don't want to
long?
wait 2.5 hours.
So how does sucking them make it faster?
So there's
Than
a
just
sublingual
eating
highway that happens. There's a system under my tongue, an endocannabinoid system, and it jumps on that highway and it writes it straight to my brain. So instead of having to wait 2.5 hours for my liver and everything to break down
You just sucking.
food I just ate, I'm just gonna suck it and ride the highway.
Oh, okay.
And I'll tell you, I'm relieved when my back doesn't hurt.
That makes more sense. Okay. That makes more sense. I was wondering, medication or something like that, that it would work faster. Like if you chew an aspirin, tastes like shit, but if you were to chew it, it would help your headache a lot faster.
I've heard that too, but I believe that it's because your stomach doesn't have to break that pill apart. You did it for
Exactly.
it.
Now,
Exactly.
yeah,
And it's
that makes more
absorbing
sense
into your
because it's
saliva
absorbing
and
into your
it's getting into
cannabinoid,
your bloodstream quicker.
your cannabinoid highway. Mhm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's awesome. Oh yeah, man.
So I just read something that was interesting to me the other day because it was actually something about a pain reliever like that. Like if you take a Tylenol,
Mhm.
there's a blocker that is part of that Tylenol that is going to block your pain receptors from being in pain.
Okay.
But that's not what CBD does. CBD doesn't block it. It opens it up. It opens it up so much so that the pain goes away.
Right. That makes more sense, right? Is that because is that like
Yeah.
a flowage thing? Because it kind
That's
of
what I think it was. Yeah.
yeah.
And it was
that-
a really small article that I just read. But yeah, I just read something about that. It's amazing what they're
makes
learning
sense.
about this product.
That makes sense because I don't know if you know anything about meditation, but I was reading up on meditating because I like to meditate, not like to the point where I'm like sitting there for hours, but I do like I would say 6 breaths in, 6 breaths out for probably like 10 or 15 minutes when I have a headache coming on, because when you do that, when you breathe in through your nose, not your mouth, you're getting more oxygen in your bloodstream, which is allowing your bloodstream to run a lot more faster and efficient. It kind of opens up your blood vessels.
Blood nerves.
Yeah. See, I'm retarded. Anyway, it opens up your blood vessels. So when you're breathing, it puts more oxygen and it makes your blood run a lot faster through your vessels, which in turn takes away your headache. Like, so
Interesting.
yeah, so that kind of is like the same concept, you know. It's like a blockage and a flowage issue, because like when you and a lot of cigarette smokers get this, because when you smoke cigarettes, it constricts the blood vessel. It makes the blood vessel shrink, and then you have your blood pressure goes up. You know, if you get a headache, it kind of like hits you hard and it lasts a little bit longer. But that's when I start feeling that way. I just breathe. I do that for about 10 or 15 minutes, 6 breaths in, or I mean 6 seconds. You go and then you exhale really slow for 6 seconds. 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out, and you do that for about 10 minutes, and you literally kind of get a weird feeling around your body, almost like a tingly feeling in your body from it. And that's what a lot of people do when they're meditating like that, and they do that shit for like 45 minutes. I mean, you could really take yourself to a place where you feel really good. I mean, I don't have that kind of discipline to do it for that long, but I mean, I could imagine just in
I
just
read an
in the 10
article
minutes.
about I read an article about smoking and meditating and how it just opens up so many because cannabis can be used for creativity, cannabis can be used to enhance the mind, cannabis can be used to do all kinds of things. So I actually read an article on Leafly about meditating after you smoke, like elevates your meditation level.
Yeah. And I believe that's what it is, that oxygen, because you're getting raw oxygen. Like you would think, and I learned this from listening to another podcast with a doctor who actually works in the study of like oxygen in lungs and all this stuff. And he was talking about that literally by breathing that way, 6 seconds, 6 long seconds in, and only doing it through the nose, not through the mouth, you actually get more pure oxygen that way, because that's what your nose is set up to do. It's set up to filter all
out,
that
yeah.
air out. And so when you suck it in through your mouth, there's no filter there. You know, you don't have a filter. You suck it in through your nose, there's all kinds of filters. So now you've just filtered pure oxygen into your lungs, and then you start dispersing that into your body. Because if you're doing that long enough, you start dispersing that pure oxygen into your body. It's like when you go to the dentist and they give you the nitrous oxide, and you get that like that light, like kind of a fuzzy feeling. That's that same exact feeling, because you're getting
like when you go to the forest and you roll down the window for the first time and it's just that clean air.
Yeah, you breathe it through your
Or
nose.
when you've been stuck in the city down here on the coast, and then you go up in the mountains and you fresh air.
Yeah.
Also, another thing for the 6 second in and out also helps your nasal constriction, because you have in your body, you have muscle memory, right? All your muscles and nerves and everything in your body has memory. So like if you're to sit there every day for a few minutes and just breathe through your nose and do that, it literally opens up all these avenues in your nose. So it allows you to breathe better. If I don't know if anybody has like, if you, Rob, have any like when you sleep at night, do you ever wake up or feel stuffy nosed when you're asleep?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's all about the sinuses.
I leave
out
the
here,
window
man.
open.
I mean,
I get
Yeah.
that way a lot for some reason, but
it all depends. Like, yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I was stuffy for a whole damn week because I basically had a cold or a sinus infection or something. So I mean, I don't know. I don't just lay there every night and wake up with stuffy noses because I don't really know what you're trying to get at there. What do you mean?
I was trying to ask. Did it happen for me? I was just trying to see if I was the only one that gets stuffed up at night. Like when I sleep, sometimes
Like every night?
Not every night, but enough to notice it. I mean, enough to notice it to where I was like learning about this breathing method and, you know, the muscle memory in your nose. So where when you breathe that way and you practice it, you know, you're basically, your nose starts to remember it and it opens up your nasal passages a lot more. And so you lose that stuffiness anymore. You know, you're able to breathe. So yeah, so a lot of good stuff that comes from the cannabis plant. A lot of good stuff comes from this from the natural world, and now that we're able to break down the plant and find all the separate little parts to it and be able to use those medically for pain, for illnesses and disease, I think is a great thing. And I think what you're doing, Casey, is a really awesome thing. You know, and helping people relieve their pains, helping people relieve stress, and just kind of, you know, or even just get high, man, and chill the fuck back, you know, it's a good thing all around, I believe. So I want to thank you for being with us today, Casey, and dropping some smoke on us. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun talking about cannabis. This is literally my favorite topic. So for sure, I enjoyed this.
Cool.
Yeah,
Right
I definitely learned a lot from this show. A lot of stuff that I didn't know
Hell
about
yeah.
weed. So
right on.
I
And
really
you'll
enjoyed
never
it.
stop with this industry coming up and how much booming it's going to be and how much knowledge we're going to be throwing out there. You'll never stop learning about this. This
Right
is
on.
an amazing plant.
And as we go, man, I'd like to have you
For
on
sure.
again.
Thank you guys.
Thanks a lot.
Hell yeah, I'd
Christy.
like to be on again. This was fun.
All right. We
Yeah,
appreciate
have
you
a good
coming
night.
by.
Have a good
Hey,
day.
it's good meeting you.
It was good meeting you too, Rob.
All right. Yeah, so that was good, man. That was awesome, dude. Got a lot of knowledge, you know, learned a few things. And we're starting to see now that this plant's not all that bad, dude. It's not bad at all. Like, you know, I think all the rest of the states need to hurry up and jump on this legalized thing, you know, so that a lot more people could have access to medical care. Because I mean, that's really what it boils down to: medical care, stress relieving, pain relieving, you know, and money making. Man, does this industry make billions and billions of dollars for
Billions of dollars.
a state, you know, and they could do so much with that money. So, but yeah, so drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys think about this episode. Let me know if it's legalized in your area and whether or not you want it to be. I mean, I couldn't see why you wouldn't want it to be. So, and let me know what your thoughts on it are. Does it come from another planet? I don't know. Rob seems to think so. So we're gonna have to figure this one out. Then we're gonna have to go online and find out where the hell this damn plant came from. He says, what'd you say, the 80s?
The Pleiadians. I think it comes from the Pleiades. The Pleiades is a group of stars. It's like 7 stars, and they're supposed to be some higher intelligent beings that are from a planet in the Pleiadians, and they brought the plant here to Earth. It's in some document, in some scripture. I don't know if it's Sumerian tablets or something that says, I can't remember where I read it from, but it's there somewhere. We'll find it.
We'll find it. All right, guys, you can find us at What the Fuck America YouTube. You can also find us at What the Fuck America podcast on our Facebook and What the Fuck America 19 at our Twitter. I want to thank you guys for stopping by, and we'll see you next week. Remember, stay high.
Rob seems
It's
to
not
think
the
so.
company I work
Okay.
for.
But
I
like
know, but
this.
he does rock. He goes back and forth. Yep.
Sounds like a fucking storm coming.
He's all like, all right,
Look like a fucking chipmunk or some shit.
that's funny.
When he,
All close.
I'll
when-
come in, yeah, like if I get excited about something, I'm into it. Like,
How you like my decorations, Rob? We switched it up from fall to Christmas. See that?
what is that?
for real, it did.
Just a little bit more. Wait.
All right.
There.
Are we about ready?
I think so.
All right, I'm out of here.
That was fucking funny the way it looked over here, because she had just got up and you had made that sound and it made it look like she farted. I swear to God, the way it looked. When she got
I
up, like,
moved
man,
my
somebody was
chair.
Rob seems to think so. He said that just happened. Christmas threw up in my fucking living room. So
It's
by
12
that,
o'clock.
by that logic, my guess is Rob, you're a indica
What is that?
smoker because you like that hard hit.
Did you guys hear that? It just said it was 12 o'clock. Where'd that come from?
Laptop.
What?
Yeah, from my laptop.
Hey, I was tripping. I was like, what the fuck is that? Okay, yeah. So what Mike was saying, how does sucking on it make the effects quicker? How does that